Stop saying thank you. I'm not talking about not being grateful. I think we should absolutely be grateful. What I'm saying is stop killing off your conversations by just saying thank you. And I'm referring mainly to our social media, our YouTube, our Instagram, whatever it is. When someone says, great job, love the song, we just say, thanks so much. Conversation over. That's it. It's next. Move on. So I'm going to talk about today, what should we be writing as a reply to our comments so that we can engage people and actually build a relationship with the fans that have felt strongly enough about our material to write something in, to send us some encouragement. We want to make sure we can nurture that relationship, and simply saying thank you is not the way to do it. We're going to talk about what is today. Hey, I'm Craig from the Dot of That Studio. I'm talking to musicians who want to become recognized music artists. We're passionate about music and we want to figure out a way how we can do music independently and continually grow our fan base and just get deeper and deeper into our music journey. So that's what this podcast is all about. And today we're talking about just responding to comments on social media or YouTube or wherever you've got your material, where there's a way for people to comment on. We want to talk about the best way to do that and why that is so important. And it is so important. I think it's important for a couple of reasons. First off, that is a chance where you can build a relationship with your audience. If somebody has connected with your material enough, even if it's your mum or your friend or whoever, if they've connected enough to actually write something publicly that everyone else can see, I think that should be taken with some gratitude. You know, that's a really big step for somebody to publicly say something about your music because it's moved them in some sort of way. So you might find it's the same people commenting all the time. You might find people that you went to high school or whatever. But in any case, somebody's written something to you and we should be responding to that in a good way. So first of all, that builds that relationship. So if you can say something meaningful back, then you've got a two-way connection. I think if we're just saying thank you, they go, like, what else do you can't, it's a bit weird for them to go, oh no, I really did like it. If you know, like that's kind of a thank you. Second of all, it spikes the algorithm and puts your post in front of more people. So there's so much happening on YouTube and Instagram that they simply can't show us everything all the time. So what they're doing is figuring out which posts are the most engaging and they're the ones that they're showing us. So a post that has 1 comment and 2 likes is probably going to get put to the back of the list, and that post about whatever it is that has 20 comments and 50 likes is probably the one that's going to get in front of us. So one great way to make our posts be those engaging posts is with comments and writing back to comments. So simply put, let's say you got 10 people that comment in and say, love the song, dude, excellent work. If we were to reply to those messages, straight up, we've turned 10 messages into 20 messages. So typically what this looks like is saying, thanks so much, Dan. Oh, thanks, Jess. Appreciate it, bro. Something like that. So we turn 10 comments into 20 comments. And that spikes the algorithm, and all of a sudden, Facebook or YouTube is going, oh, this is an engaging post. The people are writing into it, then there's answering. So that's kind of what the social platform is all about. We've got to remember this is a social platform. It's designed for people to interact with one another. So when you've got that two-way interaction, it's an engaging post and they're going to push that a bit further. So number one, why we should be commenting back is because it builds relationships with that audience that appreciate our music. 2, it's the best way to actually extend our reach on those platforms because it becomes a post that Facebook want people to see. So like I touched on before, why is thank you bad? Yes, it's a comment, but it just ends the conversation. It's all over once you say thank you. There's nothing more that you can really add to that. Now, I don't think that means that we shouldn't be grateful. We absolutely have to be grateful. We just need to find a better way to do it than thank you. Even though probably at our heart and at our core, that's actually what we mean. So when someone says, I really appreciate that, like my feeling is, thank you. Thank you for writing that. Thank you for taking the time to publicly tell me that, putting your name up in front of everyone else to show me that you really cared about it. I am actually grateful for that. And what I mean is thank you. But if I just said thank you, we're done here. Move on. It's like next, please. And it's something that I guess maybe we've heard it too much perhaps. Maybe like, you know, thank yous kind of chucked out everywhere. So it can come across as non-genuine. And even if you weren't thankful, so maybe someone that you know doesn't care about your music or someone that you don't like or whatever, you can easily just say thank you to them. You can appear pleasant, but you don't really care. So it's easy to write that And what I'm saying by that is that it doesn't necessarily portray the genuineness that you might mean by it. It's just a stock standard response. So if I'm getting a thank you back, I don't know whether you're really thankful or whether you're just being polite. So what we actually need to be doing is finding a way to portray our genuineness that comes across as genuineness. So that is just not thank you anymore. So what can we do to actually show people that we do care and that we are actually thankful? So I think the best way to probably think about this is if you've just done a show or something and people say, oh, thank you, that was great. And you're kind of like, yeah. But then if your best mate comes up and he just goes, thanks so much, man, that was awesome. At that point, your shoulders kind of drop and you'll go, oh man, I was so nervous. I felt like this. The crowd didn't really get into it till the fourth song. At that point, you kind of like talk about how you feel and what the show actually meant to you. But you'll only kind of do that with people that you're super comfortable with. But if your best mate come up and said all those encouraging things, you wouldn't just go, thank you. Or, your mum or your family or whoever, it wouldn't just be a thanks so much, bro, end of story. You can kind of open up and talk about it a bit more. So why not do that in some of your comments? Just be a little bit vulnerable and kind of open up. So when someone says, that was awesome, I really love that, you can kind of go, oh, I was actually pretty nervous about that song. It took me a long time to write it. Something like that. It's not that hard to write that in the comments. And even if you're writing that a couple of times, you can kind of word it a bit differently, but just you can engage back. Thanks so much. Yeah, that song was pretty difficult, or I wrote that song so quickly. I'm proud of it, how it turned out, or man, I just love the sound of the recording, or whatever it is. Just to be a bit honest and as if it was one of your best mates saying that was awesome, and you can kind of be honest back with them. Maybe you could go in a little bit deeper if you know something personal about them. So I put out a Blink-182 cover a couple of days ago, a week ago, whatever it was. And some people that I went to school with who used to hear me play that in the band, at that point, I could kind of make a joke with them. Oh, it was 20 years ago since that song came out. Can you believe? So even though they were saying, cool vid, man, thanks so much, I could then say, that was 20 years ago. And then all of a sudden, we're talking about how we feel old, right? So it's kind of gone from just a thank you, a comment that was great, to an actual conversation. We're reminiscing about life, about what we did in life. And they feel special. Like they're not just, I don't say thanks, move on next. Then I actually go, I know who you are. I remember who you are. And I'm engaging with you. When I could be engaging with anybody, I'm choosing to engage with you about this. Does that make sense? So what I'm saying there is if you know something personal, if you have some sort of connection, bring that in to this comment stage. Instead of just saying thank you, say, oh, this reminds me of when you and I did this, or do you remember that time when this and this and this? So that's one thing you can do. The next thing is just to ask them a question. If you don't know them, if you don't have that recognition with them. For me, with the Blink-182 song, there was a couple of occasions where I could say, oh, were you a punk rock fan back in the day? Or were you a big Blink fan? Or something like that. I can ask a question back to them about the content that I just released. So if you just put out a new song, or you can just ask a question about music that's related to your topic to get them to actually talk a bit more. And again, you're showing them that they're more than just a thank you, that they actually mean something to you and you want to engage with them, and they feel super, super special. And what this means, if you ask them a question, whether that be personal or broad, you're going to get an answer back more than likely. So they've felt strongly enough, they've been moved enough by your material to write something initially. And then if you respond to them with something personal, with a question, you want to bet that they're going to want to write back to you because they feel, oh man, this guy's actually reaching out to me. He thinks, there's some sort of relationship here that we can build and grow. So they're going to write back, which then gives you another opportunity to write back again. Maybe that can be a laugh. So with me, some people would say, if I'm talking about the fact that it was 20 years ago, and then they say something about feeling old, I can just laugh, or something kind of personal within that. But all of a sudden, you've gone from 10 comments to 20 comments to replying them all, 30 comments for them replying to your reply, 40 comments if you start replying back to that reply, and so on. So you can see now you've grabbed those two things that are so important about comments on your socials. One is engaging with that person that is actually commenting with you and growing your audience fan level, growing your audience appreciation by actually talking to them and engaging with them. Second of all, you're getting so many more comments on your post, which means it's going to go out to more and more people because it's now an engaging post. So everybody wins with this. And even people that are reading through and not commenting, how often do you just go through and read comments that you're not writing a comment? Maybe you don't really feel comfortable writing comments or whatever, but you'll go through and read what people are talking about it. If you can see that the artist is engaging every single person that's commenting, they're having a conversation, you can see some of the personality of the artist in there, then straight up they're going to see you and think, man, this is a really honest, genuine, and relatable, approachable artist. And that grows respect for you. So everybody wins if you can comment something genuine and something that connects you with the audience and just stop saying thank you. You may as well just say nothing instead of saying thank you, or just engage them and bring them something. So like occasionally with this Blink-182 thing, there was some times when I was just like, I don't know this person. I feel like I've said everything I can say. And then I would just write, thanks so much, man. Appreciate it, and send. But that for me felt like a fail. That for me felt like I'm exhausted. I've just replied to 20 comments. I've got nothing left. So I understand that there's a bit of a battle to it, and thank you probably is better than nothing. But where you can, just find some more stuff to say. Just ask a question, share a feeling about it, share something relatable to you guys or where you are in life if you've known them before, or just something relatable about the song or about the music or something. But this is going to take a bit of probably adjusting, and you will sit there just typing, maybe have the screen open for 5 minutes or something where you're trying to think of something worthwhile to say in this comment. But it will come back, and next time you release something, they're going to be the first person to do it, to jump on and have a look at it. First of all, the algorithm's going to put it in front of them because they've engaged with your previous content a lot. Secondly, because they feel a connection with you because you actually have responded to them. So this just seems like a no-brainer to me. Stop saying thank you, start saying something genuine and relatable, and get some conversation going in your comments around your content. Hey, well, that's all I had today. It's just something that I was a bit challenged with over last week when I put out some of my own content, and I'm thinking what I should write back to it. This is a concept that I've been thinking about and mulling over for a while, so I'm glad I could share it with you today. I just want to reiterate, it's not I'm all about being grateful, and this whole thing that I've talked about today is about being grateful. So if you don't have that natural thankfulness around people engaging with your music, then that could end up being a problem with you, because your music is all about the people that listen to your music. So grabbing that gratefulness, grabbing that thankful sort of spirit is really, really important. And if you're saying thank you a lot in your comments, my guess is that you already have that spirit. You already have that gratitude, that thankfulness in you. So now we're just going to direct it better and actually grow an audience from it. So what I would love for you is if you leave me in the comments something maybe that you've said, or a comment that you've worked on in the past that you find is a good conversation starter or something. If you've got any ideas, write it in the comments. Second of all, if you want to test me out, write that in the comments and start a conversation with me, and I will do my best to not just say thank you, but actually have that conversation with you and start talking to you about your music. So you can chuck that in the comments and test me out, because I just really would love to get beside you and help you out with your music wherever I can. I'm doing short episodes every week, just 15 to 20 minutes, about going from musician to artist. So we cover artist branding, playing live, songwriting, recording, and promotion. All these things just to help us go from being a musician to being a recognized artist and doing music more and more because we love it and because we're passionate about it. So subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm doing weekly episodes. It's also on a podcast if you like doing podcasts on your way to work. I know I always chuck my headphones in and listen to a podcast, so it's on your favorite podcast app as well. Make some music this week, and we will talk again soon.